Welcome to this brief overview of one of my favorite concept ships, hopefully being released within the next year of this video, the RSI Galaxy. This ship was initially announced in IAE 2952 or November of 2022. With that being said, let's go ahead and begin with the specs. RSI Galaxy. Considered a large ship, up to 6 crew members, no pilot weapons, 3 remote turrets with 2 size 5 weapons, 2 large fuel tanks, a large quantum fuel tank, 2 size 3 power plants, 2 size 3 coolers, 1 size 3 shield, 14 maneuvering thrusters, and 512 SCU of cargo with the cargo module. During the initial release of the specs, I was surprised, and I'm sure many of you were, to see a ship of this size with a single size 3 shield. When comparing it to other similar size ships such as the Carrack 600i and Odyssey, all containing 2 size 3 shields except the Odyssey, which holds a capital size shield. This seems underwhelming coming from a ship manufacturer such as RSI, and considering its recently announced ship, the RSI Zeus Mark II, which looks to be buffed compared to similar ships in its class. I must assume one of two things. This is CIG's way of balancing the ship's capabilities, meaning they want to add some drawback with choosing a ship with this type of modularity, or this was just an initial thought but will eventually be upgraded to 2 size 3 shields like its counterparts during a ship balance. Either way, we just will have to wait and see. Continuing with the point of protection, as far as we know, the pilot has no access to weapons and would require crew members to control the remote turrets for defense. This is clearly a ship that leans towards industrial design, so it would not be your first choice to get into combat with, but should be able to hold its own with a full crew. As with any ship of this size, landing planetside would require a landing pad or a reasonably large flat area. This would definitely have an impact during use of this ship, since it's intended for serviceable type gameplay, depending on which module you decide on having. Besides that, nothing less is expected than any other large ship. The RSI Galaxy comes with 3 permanent entry points, 1 large elevator giving you the ability to bring up several crew members or possibly a complete crew of 6 at one time. The second point of entry is the side docking port, and third, the uniquely designed rear hangar, allowing players to fly and land inside with a snub ship. The optional 4th entry point would depend on the module you have selected. 2 of the 3 confirmed modules have an elevator lift. Those are the cargo and medical modules. The refining module looks to simply open a bottom door, allowing mining bags to be brought in via tractor beams. So depending on which module you select, you can potentially have 4 entry points, but can rely on 3. There are so many features that I love about this ship. The biggest and most obvious feature is the modularity. As mentioned, there are 3 confirmed modules expected when the RSI Galaxy is released. So let's go over these in detail. First off, cargo. The cargo module provides up to 512 SCU of cargo space, which is 16 32 SCU size containers, including the cargo lift, which can hold 2 32 SCU containers at the same time. This module also has built-in tractor beams that can lift these containers and move them in place. It is also confirmed to be able to carry vehicles such as an Ursa rover. I'm curious about what other vehicles may fit in here, but that's to be determined. Then there is the medical module, which has 1 tier 1 bed for major injuries, 2 tier 2 beds for moderate injuries, and 3 tier 3 beds for minor injuries. There is a brief mention in CIG's Inside Star Citizen video, being able to drop off patients via ground vehicle, and using the main lift. Judging by the picture, I believe an Ursa would also fit in here. By the way, if you saw the ship segment during CitizenCon 2953, they briefly showed another Ursa vehicle to be released. It's highly rumored to be a medical variant with a tier 3 bed. This would fit perfectly as a companion ground vehicle with this module. And to add one last note about this module, this is the only official way from the manufacturer to have some sort of medical capabilities within the RSI Galaxy, as by default it does not have any medical beds. You can also carry a CAR in the rear hangar to at least have access to a tier 3 bed. Moving on to the refining module. As far as we know, RSI is the only ship manufacturer, besides MISC, to provide refining ships. This module will have 2 refinery reactors, larger than the one provided on the MISC Expanse, allowing for larger quantities of raw material to be refined. I'm curious with this module if the refined materials would need to be stored in the hangar, or if you would have to coordinate with your org to have continuous cargo pickups at a rendezvous point. Finally, CIG made it clear that there will be more modules to come. This was a pleasant surprise when we found out during CitizenCon that the Galaxy will also have a base building module. We currently know very little about base building at this moment, but this is most likely a couple years away before we can get any more details. As the game continues to evolve, CIG can continue to use the RSI Galaxy's platform to introduce new types of gameplay. Concluding with features, I would like to talk about the rear hangar on the RSI Galaxy. I think this approach of a rear-facing hangar makes for a much better transition when coming from a snub ship. You can see your approach much more easily versus hovering over the top of a ship trying to properly land vertically, having to use third-person camera angles to align the vehicle and not crash into the ship. We suspect that there will be future tech that will assist with these type of situations, making it easier regardless of which ship it is. Does anyone wish they could fly a Star Destroyer in Star Citizen? Well, this is probably the closest we'll get. I love the arrow-shaped and aggressive design by RSI. It looks like a combat ship, but geared towards multi-use and industrial gameplay. The bridge has a captain's chair with a wide open view for all bridge crew members, giving the sense of being on a carrier ship. The Galaxy offers 6 individual bedrooms, including captain's quarters with a personal office, a mess hall for crew, and the ship layout looks very easy to navigate through, providing an elevator towards the front and 2 ladders towards the back on both sides. Most components seem to be located towards the back and throughout the first floor. It's kind of hard to say based on the diagram provided. I suspect whoever is working as an engineer would spend most of their time at the back of the ship using those access ladders as previously mentioned. Having components located towards the back of the ship makes it easier for maintenance when needing to switch out components, as the hangar provides a great way to deliver new components on board. As with any large ship, it would be nearly impossible to fly solo once resource management comes online. I would recommend a minimum of 3 crew members to manage ship operations during any endeavor. I really like the design language of RSI ships. I personally like to dabble in all game loops. If there could be only one ship in my hangar, I would probably choose the RSI Galaxy. Yes, this would require me to constantly have a crew on hand. However, the access to several game loops gives this ship, in my opinion, the most flexibility within one ship. I don't know too much on what the Carrack and Caterpillar will offer as far as modularity, but at the moment the RSI Galaxy sits on top for me. As for the lack of protection with the single 3 shield, I'm not too concerned about it for a couple of reasons. One, specs can always change, so until the Galaxy is flight ready and final game mechanics are in, this is subject to change. Even with a single size 3 shield, if you're prepared, meaning full crew or with escorts, I don't really see this as a major issue. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video review of the RSI Galaxy and felt I've provided enough information about this ship. If so, please like and subscribe as I'm working towards building up more Star Citizen content and appreciate your support. Also, let me know what your thoughts are about the RSI Galaxy in the comments, and thanks for watching.